Hello, everyone. I wanted to share a story today. This story has been, I've been thinking about it a lot lately. And so I just wanted to come on here and share this with you. So many years ago, I'm trying to remember when it would have probably been, gosh, I don't know, 2005 or eight, or I don't know, somewhere in there. Um, Actually, it could have been three. We're going to say 2008. Is what we're gonna say. We're gonna go with that, and we're gonna stay with that. So back 2008, we had a local tri club named Tri Cowtown, and it started off just a little, small group of people. There weren't a lot of people doing triathlons back then. The internet had really started to kick off, and so we had this club, and we were probably medium sized, right? Maybe 25 active members. A lot of people who were members but not really active. And nobody was, well, a handful of people were doing longer distance, like Ironman stuff. But for the most part, people were doing sprints, open water, pool swim. And it was just a lot of fun. We had a website where we had gosh, what's it called? Like a message board, whatever, where people could post questions and anyway, just talk trash. Well, our club owned our own race, and that's kind of how we made money. And the race was the Brook Sprint triathlon. That race went on for, gosh, 10 years or more. And the race was a 300 yards pool swim. And I think it was like a 12-mile bike and a 5K run. And me and this guy, Matt Robinson, I don't know how it came to this, but we started talking trash. Maybe we decided to do this event to, or do this kind of bet to raise more attention to the race. I don't really remember why. But anyways, we decided to bet straight up who's going to be faster. And I'm older than Matt, but Matt was a really good runner. That I was better swimmer and cyclist. But because the swim was short and the bike was not very long, that I was probably going to get caught on the run if I didn't use some strategy. So the way it works, when you sign up for a race, is you put in your predicted swim time and you get in the water according to that, right? So if you're the fastest predicted swimmer, you're number one. And then number two goes in the water 10 seconds behind you. Okay. So Matt put in his time, and so here was my strategy. This was the only way I was going to beat him in this bet. And the bet was the loser had to, after this race, okay, I'm remembering more stuff. After this race, we always had like a big club meeting at Papacitos. It was, fun and free food and a big thing, right? Definitely drinking involved. But the loser of the bet had to wear a skirt to that dinner after the race. And so I was a faster swimmer and I was a faster cyclist, but Matt was definitely a runner. And he wasn't slow with the other two, he just wasn't as strong as I was. And I had recently gotten new race wheels, and I think I'd gotten a new bike too. Anyway, um, so Matt put down his swim time, and I can't remember what it was, but I deliberately, a race like that, I would probably be about 5 minutes, 30 seconds consistently for that kind of swim. That bike I could really push, but I wouldn't have a run. So here's what I wanted to do. Whatever Matt put down for his swim time, I deliberately was put in the water 2 minutes behind him. And so the thought was, if I just passed anybody, then I would actually be ahead of him. So I passed people in the swim. And I remember when I came out of the water, people are we were hyping this up, like we were talking trash. And when I came out of the water, if I remember right, I was less than a minute behind him when we're going to get on the bike. So that means if I get next to him, I'm 2 minutes ahead of him if I'm next to him. And so my goal was hopefully he would know how far back I was, and he would push that bike to where his run would be not as strong. But then I was going to push that bike and make him really go beyond his uh, what he's capable of and really not have a run. Um, and so, you know, he wasn't far ahead of me. I would have caught him probably within 2 miles. Uh, I don't know. So as we're going, everybody's screaming like there's a lot of people racing, but so many people cared about this. And I I felt really good about it. I didn't have to really do anything out of the ordinary because I did it in the swim. And I just, by me being put behind him, I was actually ahead of him or very close, just coming out of the water with him, right? But he was not very far in front of me. In transition, we were racked in the same spot so we could see that he was already gone. You know what I mean? Because you could have passed him in the swim and not really realized it. But I remember, people yelling the timeout. I kind of already in my head figured out where I was gonna catch him, and how I was slowly gonna put that hammer down and make him go faster than he intended to without him knowing it. You know what I mean? Like if I could pull past him and him just be jumping on, thinking he's actually keeping up with me, but me actually be going a little bit faster every pedal stroke. That was the plan. And in triathlon, for you guys that don't know, once you get your bike off the rack, you put your helmet on all your stuff, you got to run your bike out of transition to an area that there's a line on the ground. You have to cross that line before you can get on your bike. And this race, like I said, it's consistent. I knew the course, I knew everything about it. I helped set it up. Well, once you come out, you cross that line, you kind of go around this corner to this parking lot. And I've got I have a size 14 foot. So my shoes will rub the front wheel, they'll rub the ground, like they will rub if I'm not careful. I was so wound up and so excited and so much adrenaline going on. I jumped on my bike and I jumped on, I had my shoes on, I jumped on, and when I went to put my foot in the pedal, it didn't clip in, and I was on that turn. My foot went right into the spokes, and I think I broke a couple spokes, and I flipped over right there. And everybody saw me leave. They turned back, to see more people coming out. Heard this huge noise because my wheels made a loud boom echo on the ground. And they turned around and I'm on the ground. Like nobody really understood what happened. I was still in race mode and I'm like yelling if anybody has an extra wheel I can borrow because I'm thinking I'll just be out a couple of seconds. I can still do this. Forget the fact that I broke spokes, that my foot's bleeding, my leg's bleeding. Like I'm bleeding, I'm injured, and I'm like, I didn't realize that potentially I could have lost toes. Spokes are bladed, they're sharp. He was already turning. I went right into it, and it just luckily my shoe was there. And it's funny, for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason, back in the day, maybe they still do it. Back in the day, us young, fast guys would paint our toenails. And it was one of the things we would ask, why do you do that? And people just said, this is what the fast guys do. After that happened, I've never been able to paint my toenails again. Like I was like, that was bad luck. I just could not do it again. Needless to say, I couldn't even start the bike. The whole time, Matt's wondering where I'm at. And he had already knew in his head where I was going to catch him or should have caught him. So he knew something was wrong. And hey, I was a sore loser. I mean, I was not a sore loser. I mean, it was all my fault. I was just in too much of a hurry to get going that I wasn't careful about it. You could have said that I shouldn't have done that on a brand new bike and a brand new setup, but I bike so much that really doesn't bother me too much. The pedals were the same. Um, but yeah, it was quite the adventure, and I did have to wear that skort to Papacitos. It was a Pro Lazumi pinkish magenta skort. I think it was a woman's XL, and it felt nice. I'm not gonna lie. But I wore it. I did it, and that was one of many adventures that I wish had turned out differently. But that was fun. That was fun in the good old days. I haven't talked to Matt in many years, probably, gosh, 10 or 15 years. I haven't talked to him. Um, and you know, I wanna circle back and talk about it with him. But yeah, the good old days, huh? Yeah, I think we always have those stories, and I don't think I'm not like telling the story that there's a certain lesson here, right? Like there wasn't one, but we were just a bunch of young triathletes having a really good time, and a lot of people still doing the races. A lot of people have just vanished. They're not doing anything at all when it comes to races, and that's the way it goes, right? But I'm kind of I've gotten used to these new crowds coming in and going out, coming in and going out. And used to, I thought I could tell who was going to last long term and who wasn't, but I don't know anymore. I mean, it's always a different thing. And I guess as long as I'm still the same consistent person, then that's all that matters to me, right? All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening to that story. It was pretty unbelievable. I got my wheel fixed. I got my bike was fine, just scratched up. It was a brand new bike. But yeah, yeah. One time this ever happened. That's all it takes one time. You learn to be careful. All right, y'all. Well, till next time, if I think of another story, I will share it with you. Bye.